Okay, so I'm recording this video as a record of how we are doing the video stitching for the Future of Meetings Symposium. Someone was interested to know what goes into it, what the steps are. It's probably also a good way to document it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do one of the videos while recording my screen and everything, and you can kind of see what it looks like. So to start with, I will share my screen. Which is just an entire desktop. And I'm also going to share computer sound. So hopefully you'll be able to hear everything that I hear. So click share. And I'll make myself a little bit bigger so you can see me. Right. So we have content coming in from a number of different places. We have been collecting talks from speakers via CloudStore, which is an RNet kind of version of Dropbox. We also have a Dropbox account as a backup. So you can see here all of the different videos. These include both the speaker videos themselves, but also introductions from members of the organizing committee that we need to stitch together and make into one coherent video. So I have downloaded, I'm going to do Michael Barngrover's video for this demonstration. So you can see his intro is here and his actual talk is up here. So I've already downloaded those. I've been putting the files into like an input folder, so that's where they sit. And then they get imported into Davinci Resolve, which is what I'm using for video stitching. So if we go to Davinci Resolve, this is an existing project that I've already done. This was for Intopia. So I start from that template and I just save that as a new project. So we'll call this Grover save. So that just duplicates all the things in place and the templates and stuff. And I'm keeping it in separate projects just in case we have to go back or redo a video, which has been the case for a couple. So once that's in place, we're on this which is like the edit part of Davinci Resolve. You can see that I've already deleted those videos as input because we don't need them anymore. I don't have that much hard disk space. So we can actually just remove them from there. And the header slide is still there, but we don't need that anymore for this project. This is like the closing fade out. You can see, it kind of sits there. To start with, what I do, I don't want to accidentally override it, so I just move it out of the way to like 19 minutes. Michael's talk is also invited, so it'll be around 15 minutes plus the intro. Then I delete the other video, zoom out all the way, go back to the start, delete the intro. So you can see right now there's no header slide because I deleted it. Also, it wouldn't be the right one anyway because we're doing Michael's talk. So what I do then, we've just been using a Keynote template. So if we go into here, just go into the invited one. Yeah, so we've just been using the same template for all the talks and just modifying the title and the speaker each time. We have that information in a few different places, but the most useful place is our Confluence page, which kind of it's the way I've been keeping track of what the status of all the different videos is. So if we go down to Michael's, we have the title, so I can just copy that, paste, and also his name. I'm doing it this way because even though I know how to spell people's names, I'd rather copy paste it so that I know it for sure is correct. Then we save. So from the Keynote, then export to a PDF. This is so we can get that header slide as an image better quality, just so to make sure it is good quality. I save it as the person's last name. So once that's done, we close this, we open that. It's a lot like if I was actually doing this for a living or something, I'd probably be writing a Python script to automate all these steps, but oops, I didn't want to do that. I just realized this is opened in the wrong window, so I'll just move this up here. Right, so we now have that. That's a PDF that you can't really do much with that, so we go up to export again and make it JPEG. I mean, this does remind me a little bit of the Zootopia license days, and it took about 200 before I was willing to like put all the effort into making it into a completely automated process. So now I've made a duplicate. I call it small. This is going to be the thumbnail that we upload to YouTube. YouTube doesn't like it to be too big, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered making a small version. So I just reduced that to 15% of its size. And so those are now the two little template images that are ready to go. We can drag the big high resolution one into the project. So it's now there. If we go back to the input, so we have both the introduction of the speaker, which I'm now dragging in, and his talk, which also goes in. So now all the content is there. To replace the header slide, I just make sure it's at the start of that and replace. And that's surprisingly easy, and I appreciate that a lot. This is always a duration of 5 seconds. Sometimes it goes a little bit more. Don't really care. Don't think anyone's going to notice that fraction of a second difference. We put in first the intro. So when I play the sound, hopefully you'll be able to hear exactly what I hear. If you don't, I apologize, but I did click share computer sound, so in theory that's all going to work. Right, so anyway, so we have to first transition between here. It varies a little bit depending on how much people doing either videos for speaker introductions or the videos themselves, they like try to really helpful trim it. But actually, and we never actually said this as an instruction, so this was a lesson learned, but it helps if you have like a second of lead time so that you can kind of smoothly transition. But that's, that's just, I guess, something to learn in terms of how to best record in the future. So now, as you can see, Glenn actually does have that.
Hi, everyone.
So he starts speaking around here. You can actually see the sound. That's interesting. He's very quiet. Probably have to boost him. So what we do here is we kind of drag this forward and see where we want it to transition. I've been using dip to color dissolve as the transition thing. And I always, I guess it would have been easier if I'd just chosen 1 second as the default, but I felt 1.5 second was a more kind of like slow, good transition to go with. So if we do that, then we drag this back to the start because we don't, oops. We drag this back to the start because we don't want this awkward black space at the start, just like before it actually fades in.
Hi, everyone. And
okay, so jumping a bit.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so that's fine. We do have to kind of move this sound. So this is, I guess, making the sound fade in the same way as the audio so that it's not like, you hear people talking and then you see them, which definitely sounds strange.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the CSO.
Probably move it forward a little bit.
Hi, everyone, and
okay. So I'm just going to move that a little bit more. See there. Maybe that's too much. Let's look. I think that's going to be too much, actually. Yeah, sometimes a little fiddly just to get it exactly right because you want to kind of watch it and say, okay, is it fading in a good way?
Hi, everyone, and welcome.
Is that too much?
Hi, everyone, and
it's probably good. Okay, so now we move that back to the start. So the start is done, which is good. So now we can go to, or we can just kind of watch Glenn's thing. Might have to boost that a little bit.
My name is Glenn, and as a member of the organising committee for this conference, I'd like to begin this session by acknowledging the Davinci people as the traditional owners of the land on which I meet you today. And I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present.
The other thing we have the opportunity to do, there is a noise reduction. You can kind of hear some animals or birds maybe in the background. It doesn't always work. It has an auto mode. There's not that much noise specifically. Actually, I probably shouldn't have closed that. So it's good. Anyway, so we'll just drag that again. Keep that open in case we want to turn it off.
Okay. And emerging. It's my great pleasure to introduce you all today to our next invited speaker, Dr. Michael Barngrover. Michael is a senior researcher and designer of immersive experiences at Koch University's Karma Lab, where he studies user experience.
I feel like that literally makes no difference at all.
So Future of Meetings talk. My name is Glenn.
So we'll just leave it off. I don't think we need to do it for this one. Sometimes people have had, like a static hiss or like a hum or yeah, some strange sounds have come through on some of the recordings. See, that can be really helpful to reduce that.
Acknowledging the Darug people
We'll just let that play.
as the traditional owners of the land on which I meet you today. And I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. It's my great pleasure to introduce you all today to our next invited speaker, Dr. Michael Barngrover. Michael is a senior researcher and designer of immersive experiences at Koch University's Karma Lab, where he studies user experiences in social and collaborative virtual platforms. He's a leader within the global XR crowd, and where he organizes the Zero event series of multi-user XR platform explorations. In addition to this, he also develops immersive applications in the field of cultural heritage throughout his Raptor Dance studios. Please enjoy the talk and join me in welcoming Michael for his presentation. Thank you.
I feel like that's actually a dog, not a bird. I don't have a dog filter. I think actually, yeah, okay, so Michael's talk is like overwritten that, so I need to move that more out of the way. That's that ending slide bit. If I overwrite it, it's not a big deal. I can just make it again, but it's easier if I don't have to. So we drag that in. Still confused about why the sound is so low. Because apparently, according to my thing, it's like maximized. It's odd.
Please enjoy the talk and join me in welcoming Michael for his presentation. Thank you.
So that's around the time where we need to fade Glenn out. I've never figured out why I can't, you know, like I can't just drag that and say dip to color. That would make my life a lot easier. So for whatever reason, that doesn't work. That's probably just a setting in Davinci that I haven't figured out yet. So I fade out one side. It's probably too much. But let's see. Oh, and I also have to change it to black. I'm sure probably there's somewhere in the settings where I can like make it black by default, but again, I've not figured that out. I only learned Davinci for this conference, which was like a week ago. Oops, I just popped my laptop.
Thank you.
Play.
Thank you.
Okay, that's too much. Back.
Thank you.
Kind of blinks a bit.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Still blinking.
Thank you.
That'll do. And then we bring Michael back over here. Drag another dip to color. So if you can actually get the crossover, then it's 1.5. But I found that in this case, it's usually just easier to go with 1 second each way. But sometimes it does seem a bit long. So Michael doesn't start talking till about there. Let's see.
Thank you.
The computer's struggling a bit, I think, because it's recording as well as doing this. Hello? See, that's a bit too awkwardly long, so we drop that to about, so let's say 0.8, and drop Glenn 0.8.
Hello and welcome.
Just got back to. Okay, so Glenn's blinking again at the end. Sometimes it's easier than this. Let's go there.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's fine. All right, so now we want to fade out the sound again. Like that. And we'll fade this one in. Sometimes people are like clicking things or you hear the background noise, so it's just better to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to my webinar.
He's also super quiet. Let's push this in a bit. Almost too much. See how it sounds.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to my webinar entitled What VR Events Reveal About What Really Matters.
So I think Glenn needs to be a little louder. There it is.
And welcoming Michael for his presentation. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to my...
So it's probably okay. I'm not proofreading the talks in this checking the talks in this context. That's something that we do later. Ideally, we would check them all before we go through this stage, but in the interest of time, it's mostly just put them into stitch format and then deal with, like, you know, check all the content and stuff later. All right, so let's jump to the end. Okay, so in this case, Michael has been great and has left exactly the right amount of fade out time. So it's very easy. Sometimes I have to split off a little bit and then like extend that and yeah, try to get a little bit more fade out time. Okay, so let's turn it into a black fade out. See how this looks. Okay, so that's fine. You can ripple delete, which basically just kills the blank space between here, which is very helpful. Now I can check how that fades. A little bit too long. Let's make that 0.8. It's fine. And again, with the sound, even if there is no sound, it's just better to do it. I'm too far. Why is it so quiet? I don't understand.
For this opportunity, and thank you for your attention.
Alright, so that's good. So now we save the project. So now's the stage where we export. Can my computer record a Zoom call at the same time as exporting? This is a question I do not know the answer to. So, so that's just the file format that we're taking. I export it as MP4 and keep otherwise all the settings standard for YouTube. Add to render queue, start render. So this is where it could get interesting, and I don't know how the recording will go, so let's find out. Could crash. The time, it varies a little bit depending on the import video. It can be, I guess for an invited talk, it's usually about a few minutes. So yeah, and it always starts off saying it's going to be 2 hours and in the end isn't. I also am kind of looking at this video. I think the frame rate's dropping a lot, so I'm not sure how the recording will go. Yeah, once it gets into the transitions, for some reason also it sticks on them a little bit while it's transitioning. So we're down to 28, 26 minutes. It's not going to be that long, or this would be a very awkward recording. I guess I could also trim this part at the end. So down to 20, which obviously it hasn't been 6 minutes. At the end, like I would guess this is probably going to take maybe 4 minutes total. Possibly it's also going to take longer just because I'm using more of my computer CPUs in terms of recording at the same time and sharing my screen and all of that. So that could not be helping. But again, like I said, it really does depend on the input video. There have been invited talks that like process in a couple minutes, and there's some that take 17 minutes. So and it's not just a function of the length of the videos or anything like that. It's something more subtle that I do not understand about videos. Oh man, I hope it's not 9 minutes. That's a long time. I'm gonna have to trim this. Well, it's definitely going faster than real time. During the times of the render, I cannot do pretty much anything else on my computer. So this is usually when I switch to my phone to check, I don't know, any messages that have come in the meantime about the conference or stuff like that. I think probably you've seen enough of the render process, so at this point I'm going to assume that Vanessa's going to trim this later and say goodbye and see you in whatever number of minutes it actually is. Okay, so that just finished. That was 9 minutes. That was a really long time. Anyway, so now that that's rendered, we can go to back to over here, have a quick look at the output. Just make sure it kind of looks fine. So let's see how it goes.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the CSO Future of Meetings talk. My name is Glenn, and
Transition.
me in welcoming Michael for his presentation. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to my webinar entitled What VR Events Reveal About What Really Matters.
Cool. All right, now I'll go check the end.
I really do appreciate it, and I hope it was useful for you. Thank you again to the organizers of the Future of Meetings Symposium for this opportunity, and thank you for your attention.
Cool. All right, so that is done. All right, so now we can go to our YouTube and upload the video. Just want to check one more thing at the end because I felt like there was a little bit of an awkward end. See, it's a little bit too long. Oh, that's fine. All right, so put that there. Now that we'll think about uploading for a bit. So I just remembered one thing, and I don't entirely know why I forgot it, but in this bit here, we didn't actually have to do it like that. So I'll just show what I should have done, and maybe I'll re-render it. Just move that away. Completely had a brain thing. Just went away. We can do this. Yeah, for some reason you can drag it into those, but you can't cross between two clips, and I forgot about that. That I should have been doing this instead. That's why there's like a slightly awkward. I'm not going to re-render again right now, though. It would be very painful.
For your attention.
Maybe what I did was better. It's too far. It's too far. Put it about there. Oops. It's probably not enough to get the whole 1.5.
For your attention. This opportunity, and thank you for your attention. For your attention.
Well, to be fair, there's not that much end time for this one, so maybe what I did was better.
Thank you for your attention.
It's not letting me play it back. Well, I may re-render that because the cross dissolve of the actual clip is usually quite better. Let's assume that this is the official one. Then what we do is, this is the backup. The first one we upload is the backup. So that's if the premiere fails on the day, we have this ready to go to throw into the platform, and it's not premiered, but it will, so everyone would have to watch it like by clicking play and just watch it themselves. The advantage of the premiere is that we keep everything in sync with each other, so it's like, you're actually there in the talk together at the same time. So I'll put Michael's name. So we can go back to over here. If we go to where Michael's talk is in the program, hopefully he put in a description. So we have a bio about the talk. So that goes into the description here. This is now where we use the small thumbnail. So that gets dragged over into here and just appears. It's very good. Because this is a backup upload, it doesn't go into any of the official playlists. I mark it as English. You can't actually upload subtitles until you've marked which language. That's just a quirk that was grayed out before. But obviously, since this is only just getting uploaded, we haven't got the subtitling done yet. Don't want to publish. Disable comments. Right. So for the uploads, we upload them as unlisted because that means they are viewable, but you need to know what that URL is. So if I save that, it's probably going to take a little while to think about uploading. Oh, it's already uploaded. That was quick. Quicker than I expected. So then it has to process. We can't actually order the subtitles until it's processed. So we can close that. Yeah, so then to keep track of where we're at, so I go back to the master table in Confluence. These are just like, okay, so has someone checked the talk and made sure, the sound comes through okay, there's not any problems with it. That's the header and the, adding the header and footer slides. For consistency, I've just done it for all of them so that, it's pretty much the same throughout. That's so it's TBD if we haven't started the captioning process, pending if we're waiting for the captions to come in, and then the date which we receive them. And then we keep track of both links, the upload link, so this is the backup basically, and the premiere link, which is the way that we're going to distribute the talks through the platform. So now I can put that link in. Always tries to widget it, which is really annoying. Haven't figured out how to turn that off. Tag myself. So we haven't checked it yet. So that's all good. Once I can show, I guess I'll record how we do the captioning process as well, just so this is entirely complete. But obviously it won't have the end result of uploading the captions. Yeah, so we'll save that. It still says 0% processed. It doesn't really track the process percentage very well. It just kind of says like 0%, and then I look back 5 minutes later and it's done. So I don't know, maybe if I click into it, it gives more information. Nope. When you go to upload the subtitles later, it's just a case of, clicking that and then going to the file and uploading it. And we're using the SRT format for that. Well, copy the link. What else is there to show? It's probably everything until this goes through. Come on, YouTube. I want a percentage done. I mean, to be fair, it does process pretty quickly on average. Well, anyway, I guess we can kind of start this process. So we're using Rev for the automatic captions. The nice thing about it is they have a way that you can just share a YouTube link, so you don't have to like double upload things, which I think is really great. I mean, we could if we wanted to. We could also pull directly from the YouTube, and then I think they insert the captions and stuff for you. But because we want to check the captions after they're done, just to see, okay, like are there any proper nouns that are misspelled, or any issues, then it's it's just easier to do this way. Okay, great. So now the SD, it only has to be the SD that's complete, and then you can put it in. So we go add. I'm finished. So you can see this, they charge by the minute. This is the estimated delivery. It's usually quicker, which is nice. If we get desperate, I guess we could rush the order, but we still have time, so I'm not feeling that desperate yet. At the moment for YouTube, we only use the SRT format, but because it doesn't change anything, I'm just OCD and I'm like, okay, let's just get everything just in case. And I did stuff up the order numbers at some point, but I am trying to keep track of them. So where are we up to? 16, I guess. It's optional, it doesn't matter, and we'll never use it for anything, but I'm still doing it. Okay, so now we can check out. Order. All right, so that's ordered. Rev gives us this opportunity to add speaker names. At first I was like, why? And then I realized it's actually for spelling. So when people say their names, it can transcribe it correctly. So we had Glenn doing the introduction, and we had, and you're like, oh, why aren't you copying and pasting it? I feel that way myself, actually, but I think I know how to spell Michael's name. All right, so that's applied. I don't do any of this overly complicated stuff. And we can go back to my files, and you see, oh, look, one's complete now. That's nice. So yeah, we can see Michael sitting in there, and sometime over the next 12 hours, that'll transition to complete. So to give you an idea of what we can do once it's complete, we can actually go into this. I guess they must download the video because this isn't playing back from YouTube. It looks like it's actually embedded in the platform. But we see the captions here, and we can just say, okay, like play. So then that's the introduction. So this is obviously for a different talk, but it gives you an idea.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are.
Best thing ever. They let you play it 2 times, which is really good for checking stuff more efficiently.
I'd like to welcome you to the Future of Meeting Symposium.
So here, for example, they didn't capitalize that, and it's meetings.
And I'm hoping you're enjoying the event so far. My name is Janelle Tremblay, and I'm one of the organizers of this symposium. I'd like to start by acknowledging the Wajak people of the Noongar Nation.
So I have to say I'm very impressed. Usually the Aboriginal people, the names are spelled correctly, which I think means that the captioner is doing research into how to spell it, because we don't provide that information. So I'm very impressed by that. Let's see.
As the traditional owners of the land I am meeting on today, and pay my respect to their elders past and present, I'd like to introduce the speakers for this next section titled "The Future is Here: Implications for Accessibility."
Probably just maybe give that. Oh, that's why they didn't do it. Okay, we'll just leave it as it is.
Titled "The Future is Here: Implications for Accessibility." Adam, Andrew, and Chris will be speaking on behalf of Intopia, a company whose vision is to create tools and help companies be more inclusive. COVID-19 has brought the virtual world and virtual meetings into the now for many people. The working from home opportunities in virtual meeting environments bring with it a wealth of opportunity for people with disability, especially for those who find travel in an office environment difficult. Adam, Andrew, and Chris are going to discuss issues around inclusivity and provide tips for making your meetings more inclusive for people with disability. Adam is one of the co-founders of Intopia.
Probably.
Adam is one of the co-founders of Intopia and the director of accessible technologies. He has over 12 years of hands-on professional experience working in web development, training, and consulting, with a focus on working with accessibility within organizations. Andrew is a principal consultant with Intopia and has been working in the field of digital accessibility for over 20 years. This is included in establishing the digital access team at Vision Australia. Chris is a digital accessibility consultant at Intopia and has a long background in working for companies on accessibility teams, including Uber. Thank you, Adam, Chris, and Andrew, and the team at Intopia. We look forward to your talk.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to...
Anyway, so that gives you an idea, and the captions are very good. There's good capitalization, good grammar, good timing, so that all makes life very easy. Okay, well, I think that is probably a... Oh, I can show one more thing, but I haven't... Well, so what we do once we have the captions and everything is we upload a talk as an actual premiere. This is the same process, except instead of clicking unlisted, you click schedule. Then I schedule it at the exact time that we expect that talk to go on the day. We're going to have to go through a process of double checking all of that just to be safe. But yeah, so then it will automatically play once we have that link. So for example, I don't know, I guess we can just show Kathy's. So we have this link for this premiere. You can go into the Hoover platform at the back end, go to the correct session. So you can see we have this live stream URL. I mean, if I paste it again, you can see it's the same one. So we don't have to save that. So that's in there. And then if you go to that part of the agenda, so if you go to Tuesday, 10 a.m., you can see it's here. Obviously it says the session will start. You click proceed anyway. Everyone's gonna have to click play, which is gonna be interesting because I think we're gonna have to be saying click play a lot. But once you click play, so you can see obviously, you know, premieres in 2 days. You know, this is a good check that the times match. This will be the local time for whoever's viewing, and so will this, so that'll obviously match as well. On the day, this just randomly starts playing and kind of does a little countdown, and then the video plays in sync for everyone. So I think that's a really great way to kind of share recorded content, but also remove the risk of, for example, you know, us as organizers sharing it and clicking play and having our internet connection being part of this. This service that's provided by YouTube, we were really excited to find it because I hope it will make our lives a lot easier. Right, so I think that is the entire process of video stitching, rendering, and then uploading and getting it captioned. Eventually we do get the caption files, and then we just attach it to the video and set the premiere going. Cool. Well, thanks for watching if you watched this far, and I hope it was useful and interesting for you.